Yeah, we'll continue with the classification of periodic classification of elements. As I already told, some of the part, the briefing of periodic table I've done already. You have any questions regarding the periodic table? Those who are not there, because I'll be continuing. I'll just tell you what I've done. We have made a periodic table on the board. I hope you have you seen online? You have seen you both. Outline of periodic table is done, and in that some of the elements and position of our S block, P block, P block, F block, those are common to you, right? Then properties of SPDF we have discussed. F is done, no. SPD, okay. These many properties we have discussed. That's it, done in that. Okay, I'll proceed with the F block. F no, up to D is done. Yeah, and important point is here in whatever we have discussed there, the important point is to find the position of an element when its atomic number is given. Question will be asked on that. I'll discuss how to find it. We'll discuss that. F block. Where is F block found? At the bottom of the periodic table, right? It's a continuation of 6th and 7th period. Just note down the points fast, quickly. Don't expect me to dictate. As you get the points, you note. Found in the bottom of the periodic table. There are two series of F block elements, which are those lanthanoids, which comes in the 6th period, that is 4F series. 7th period is 5F series. Lanthanoids and actinoids. Lanthanoid comes after lanthanum. After lanthanum, lanthanoids. 14 elements are there. These are also 14 elements. What is the general configuration? Rare gas followed by N minus 2 F1 to 14, N minus 1 D 0 to 1, NS2. Okay. Hence here in 4F you get N minus 2 is 4. In 5F series N minus 2 will be 5. Then this is 6 and this is 7. By which outer shell number gives the period number. Clear? In actinoids, the element which comes after uranium with 92 atomic number are called as transuranium elements. Those are synthetic radioactive elements. After uranium, transuranium elements, which are synthetic radioactive elements. The important point of this periodic table is to find the position of the element by knowing its atomic number, right? To detect the position of the element in the periodic table. Position of the element in the periodic table. To find the position of the element, you need to know the electronic configuration, right? Electronic configuration of element up to somewhere around 36 you have learned. The simple elements with the smaller atomic number, it is easy to write. Whereas if the element's atomic number is higher, if it is around 60, 70, 80, 90, then you'll find difficult to write the electronic configuration, for which we'll have some simple method. Okay. Do you remember the Aufbau principle, how the orbitals are placed in the energy order, increasing order of energy? You know the order, orbitals order. It can be written by some pyramid Do you remember? That is how you get 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 3d, 4s, 4f, 5s, 5p, 5d, 5f, 6s, 6p, 6d, 7s, 7p. Then put the arrow mark downward. In this way. Now you will get the order of the orbitals. Start from here, from the end of the arrow towards the arrowhead. 1s, then comes 2s, then 2p. After 2s, again the arrow 2p, then comes 3s, then 3p, 4s, 3s, 3p, 4s. After 4s, 3d, 4p, 5s, 3d, 4p, 5s. After 5s, 4d, 5p, 6s, 4d, 5p, 6s. Then 4f, 5d, 6p, 7s. 5f, 6d, 7p. That should be the increasing order of orbitals. Right? We have the rare gases: helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon, and what is the last one? 120th one, oganesson. 120th, OG, the last element. Atomic number 2, 10, 18, 36, 54, 86 and 118. Last element. Okay, in this we'll classify. See, the helium has configuration up to here, right? 1s2, the orbital which fills the rare gases. Helium fills here. Then next comes neon up to here. Try to understand this. Your work will be simpler then. Then comes argon. Argon fills up to here, right? 3s to 3p6. Then comes krypton. Krypton fills up to here. Then would be xenon. Xenon fills up to here. Then is radon, which fills up to here. And oganesson. If you fill up to 7p6, that will be completely 118. That is for oganesson. Got it? That means 2 electrons up to here, helium's 2 electrons, neon's 10, argon's 18, krypton's 36, 54 of xenon, 86 of radon. This much is clear, right? Simple, you can write so much. Now, if an element has atomic number, say 70, or let us start with some simpler one, say 43. Simple one I'm taking. How do we write the electronic configuration? Just observe the way of writing. If atom has atomic number 43, then you select the rare gas before it. Before 43, which rare gas comes? 36, no? Krypton. Krypton makes 36 electrons. Then how many more are required? 7 more, right? 7 more. Krypton's configuration comes up to here. Then take the next orbital. What is it? 5s, then 4d and 5p. Fill 7 electrons such that maximum 2 electron in the s orbital, 6 electron in the p orbital, 10 in the d orbital, 14 in the f orbital. We require 7 more. Here 2 goes. Remaining are 5 that comes here. So 5p not required. Understood? Once you make that order, it is very simple to write the configuration by considering the rare gas, previous rare gas. Follow 2-3 examples we'll practice. Now it is not only so much. I want the position of this element in the periodic table. In which group, in which period that element falls. Now listen. It is very simple to find period number. Period number is the outer shell number. Always. Outer shell means whichever the highest number in the n. N shows here, principal quantum number. Ns, Np, Nd, Nf. In that n, outer shell's number, it is 5. Don't say 4. 4 is outer. No. 5 is still outer. Fifth shell. This is the fourth shell and this is the fifth shell. So period number should be 5. Outer shell number. Whichever is the largest n, that stands for the period number. Whereas group number, in order to identify group number, first you must know which block that element belongs to. How do you identify which block? You see the orbital to which differentiating electron goes. What is meant by differentiating electron? Last electron. If there is one more electron, where would you add? D, no. One more electron you add to D. So this is called as the differentiating electron. The last electron added is called as differentiating electron. To which orbital you are adding? D orbital. That means it should be a D block. Understood? Whichever the orbital you add the last electron, that block, that element belongs. So it is a D block element. Once you identify the block, this I have taught in the class. This will I'll erase this part, pyramid. You have drawn it now. Identifying the group requires little bit knowledge. Group number is identified. If it is S block, what is the group number? It is number of ns electrons. If it belongs to S block, number of ns electron defines group number. If P block, what is the group number? 10 plus number of valence electrons. Valence electrons are number of ns electrons plus number of np electrons. Ns plus np electrons make the valence shell electrons, or you can say 10 plus valence shell electrons. We will practice it, you'll understand. If it belongs to D block, then electrons of n-1 D and ns electrons together says the group number. F block, what is the group number? Is there any group number for F block? It is a continuation of third group. Lanthanum, actinum continues there. So there is no group number for F block. It is a third group. It continues after third group. F block. So this much you must remember. Now we have identified the block, right? Then select, if it is D block, what should be the group number? n-1d and ns, which is n is 5, no? n-1 is 4. So how many electrons total are there? 7. n-1d is 5 plus 2, that is 7. Therefore, group number is 7th. That's it. Understood? You know, done. We'll practice few more. Any doubts, Sudeep? n-1d. n-1d is here 4d electron, and ns is 5s electrons. How many 4d electrons? Electrons you have to consider 5 electrons here. Here 2 electrons. 5 plus 2 is 7. Electrons I have written here. You have to count number of electrons always, not the orbitals. Electrons to be counted. You can ask any doubt if you get. Don't hesitate. Clear? Now we'll make the next example. Take atomic number 50. 50. Which should be the previous rate gas? Before 50. Xenon 54. No, it goes after that. You have to see less than that. Krypton itself. Krypton makes how many electrons? 36. Then how many more are required? How many more are required? 14. You write next available orbitals. After krypton, you can have 5s, 4d, and 5p. 14 are required to fill. Start from 5s. It should be in the same order, okay? Filling the electron from the least energy. 5s you fill first. How many? 2. 4d, how many? 10. 12 are over. 2 more are there, right? Then you keep here. 2. Got it? Then what should be the period number? Period number, outermost shell number. 5, right? Period number is 5 because it's the fifth shell, no? Outer shell. Which should be the block? See, differentiating electron enters into which orbital? So p block. Understood? P block. Now to p block, what should be the formula? Group number 10 plus ns plus np. How much it will be? 10 plus ns. Ns is 2, np is 2. Plus 2 plus 2. How much? 14 is the group number. Clear? We'll have few more. 2, 3 examples we'll practice. Take 79. I'll erase this. $79. Which previous rare gas will select? Xenon. Good. Xenon makes 54 electrons. How many more are required? How many more? 25 more are required. You write all the available orbitals first. 6s, 4f, 5d, 6p. After xenon, these are the set of orbitals available. Correct. 25 are required. Fill 2 here, 4f, 14. How many are over? 16 are over. Then 9 more, no? 9 more. Is this a configuration? 6p you can remove. Is this a configuration? Yes, you can make it, no? But in case you write this configuration, there won't be any mistake in finding the position of the element. You will get the same answer. But configuration should be 6s1, 5d10, no? Like in copper we had to maintain the stability. Configuration changes. It is a 12th group element. Sorry, not 12th, 11th group. 11th group element. You will get the answer by that. This to be 6s, 1, 5d, 10. Answer will be same whether you write 6s to 5d, 9. Yeah, no problem in that way. So which block? Differentiating electron goes to which orbital? Which orbital? You are saying the period number. Yeah, period number is 6. Block. Last electron, where did D? No, last electron we have put in the D orbital, D block. For D block, it should be 10 plus S plus 10 plus S plus P, right? There is no P. 10 plus S. Right, that is not N minus 1 and NS. So it is 11. N minus 1D is 10. NS is 1. No, P doesn't come there. N minus 1D plus NS. 11th group. Understood? Make one more. 111. 111. What will be the previous one? Which one? Radon. That is 86. How many more? 111. 86 plus how many more? So long time. How many more? Huh? 25? No. 25 more are required. Now write the available orbitals. 7s, 5f, 6d, 7p. 25. 2 here, 14. 16 are over. 9 here, right? Isn't it? 7p is not there. Outer shell. Period number 7. Which block? D block itself. This should become what? Same as before. S1 and D 10. So 10 plus 1. This is also 11th group element. Followed. Can you work out now? Make 92. One last example. Then you can work on yourself. 92. Previous guess. Radon, which has 86. How many more? How many more? 6 more. 7s and 5f you can take. Correct? 7s2, 5f, 4. So which period number is 7? Block is which block? F block? No. F block. Group number? Group number we don't say. For F block, there is no group. It is a continuation of third group itself. Don't write group number here. Can't predict. Clear? So this is what we require from the previous topic, which is taught. I've given all this list in the previous topic. I just note down from others. You can practice for a few more elements. Take any of the number and see in the periodic table. You have the periodic table in the textbook. Compare whether you get it right or wrong, the positions. We'll discuss some of the periodic trends in the periodic table. Before that, one more topic is to give the IUPAC name for the atoms with more than 100 atomic number. IUPAC name. Right, the next side heading. IUPAC name of the element with atomic number more than 100. Which are the prefixes given for these numbers? Mil, an, bi, tri. It's not tetra. Tetra comes in organic. Here it is quad. Pent, hexa. It is not hept. It is sept. Oct. It's not nan. N. These three, quad, sept and N, are different than organic. Organic prefixes. Rest of all are same. quad, there it is tetra, here quad, there hept, here sept, there we use non, it is n, E-double-N. When you write the names in IUPAC system, what to be followed? 101. If it is 101, you will take the respective prefixes, club them, end the name with IUM. That is the rule. In case by is the last word, then again I shouldn't come. Only once I. That is 101. 1 stands for un. Then nil. Then un. IUM. IUM is the end. Its symbol would be first letter of these words. Un stands for U, then nil, then U. Un, nil, un. UNU. Understood? 102. Un, nil. It should be a single word. Un, nil, by. UM. Again, one more I is not there. Only one I at the end. UNB. - 103. Un, nil, triumph. UNT. Complete it. 104. Un, nil, quadium. UNQ. Un, nil, quadium. Un, nil, pentium. UNP. Un, nil, hexium. UNX. Un, nil, septium. UNS. Un, nil, octium. UNO. Un, nil, ennium. UNE. Nilium. UUN. Hundred and 11. Continue. It is unium. U. Unbium. UUB. Trium. UUT. Quadium. Complete it. UQ. Pentium. UUP. Hexium. UUH. Septium. UUS. Octium. UUO. What is 119? Ennium. 120. How many elements can be there in the periodic table? Then why 11911? It is only up to 118. In order to name 119, 120, you people have to discover the elements. Then a new periodic table has to be brought, no? In the available periodic table, there is no space for 119, 120 atomic number. Then it will be a new block in the periodic table called as G block. New block to be introduced in order to add a few more elements. That might come in the future. G block. Okay, we'll continue with the, this is clear, right? Symbol, everything. Periodic trends in the property. Periodic trends in the properties. Which are the periodic properties? What is meant by periodic property? Which repeat after regular interval, right? The property which repeats after regular interval, like atomic size, then metallic character, ionization enthalpy, electron gain enthalpy, electronegativity, electropositivity. These all are the periodic properties. One by one, let us discuss. Atomic size, quickly, brief discussion on this. How atomic size is measured? It can be measured in terms of radii. Which type of radii? In the covalent molecules, covalent radii, ionic compounds, ionic radii, metallic compounds, metallic radii, and even van der Waals radii. These all are the different types of radii. We'll see one by one. Covalent radius. How covalent radius is defined? To define covalent radius, there should be a covalently bonded molecule of like atoms. You can't use unlike atoms, like HCl cannot be used. You have to use hydrogen or chlorine. Then find the distance from the nucleus to nucleus, divide it into half. Hence, how to define it? Half the internuclear distance of what? Covalently bonded like atoms. Half the internuclear distance of covalently bonded like atoms. Why this like atoms important? If atoms are of different elements, then you cannot make the bond length into half. You won't get the answer. It should be like atoms. That is covalent radius. Metallic radius. What is metallic radius? How do you define metallic radius? To define metallic radius, you must know what is metallic bond, right? What is metallic bond? Quickly. What is metallic bond? Bond between two metal atoms. Any other answer? Any other answer for metallic bond? In fact, it is not the bond between two metal atoms. Have you heard about electron C model? Electron C model of metallic bond. You have heard? You have heard only Arabian Sea, right? Not electron C. Okay, this is a model which defines metal itself. Okay, assume this is a piece of metal. You know, most of the metals are electropositive, right? They readily lose their electrons, correct? Because their ionization enthalpy is quite less, readily lose their electrons, isn't it? So when they lose their electron, these metal will be in the form of metal ions, which are closely packed in the metallic lattice, metallic crystal. They may have some arrangement. These are positively charged metal ions. After they lose their electron, they form a definite arrangement of positively charged metal ions. Now, where are the electrons? Those electrons which are lost from these metals will be in a free state to move anywhere in the metal. Wherever the place is available, they are free to move in this way. Now those electrons which are lost by the metal no more belongs to that metal atom or metal ion. It is free to move anywhere. That is why these electrons are compared to the sea water. As water flows in sea, these electrons flow in the metal, free to flow. Hence, these electrons are called as sea of mobile electrons. Not this mobile. Why mobile? Freely flowing electrons. And this is called as some definite arrangement, which is called as an array of positively charged metal ions. It has a special name called as kernel. Array of positively charged metal ions. Now, what is the metallic bond? Here is the metallic bond. It is the force of attraction between the array of positively charged metal ions with the sea of mobile electrons. It is not the bond between the metal atoms. In fact, in the metal, atoms do not exist at all. It exists in the form of cations, metal cations. Got it? Totally different picture, right? Of metallic bond. This is in fact the metallic bond. How to define it? Force of attraction or bond between array of positively charged metal ions and sea of mobile electrons. Now here, can you define the metallic radius? How would you define metallic radius? Metallic radius, half distance between the nuclei of two metal ions. This distance you have to make half. It is not metal atoms, it is metal ions in the metallic crystal. What is meant by metallic crystal? That is crystal lattice. You know what is crystal lattice? Arrangement of particles comes in crystal lattice. Understood? So metallic bond is half the internuclear distance of two metal ions in the metallic crystal. Half the internuclear distance of adjacent metal ions. Internuclear distance of adjacent metal ions in the metallic crystal. If you want, on the side, you write what is meant by metallic bond. It's a force of attraction that holds array of positively charged metal ions with a sea of mobile electrons. Force of attraction that holds, write those two parts, array of positively charged metal ions, array of positively charged metal ions the force is that I'm telling this metallic bond, array of positively charged metal ions with the sea of mobile electrons, force of attraction that holds array of positively charged metal ions with the sea of mobile electrons. Wrote metallic bond. What is a metallic bond? Sorry, metallic radius. Metallic radius I have not written. You wrote metallic radius. What is metallic radius? Half the internuclear distance of the adjacent metal ions in the metallic crystal. Ionic radius. Ionic radius. What is ionic radius? Assume an ionic compound, sodium chloride. Sodium and chloride. Which is large among sodium and chloride? Sodium on the left side, chloride on the right side. Which is large? Sodium, obviously, right? Left side, size decrease. So sodium is large. Let us take that is a sodium and chlorine. I'm showing this before the bond formation, before ionic bond formation. These are atomic sodium and chlorine. What would happen when bond forms? Sodium's 3s1 electron will be shifted to chlorine, correct? So sodium loses an electron. What it would become? Na plus. Is Na plus larger than Na or smaller than Na? Smaller. By losing, cations are smaller than its anion, that is neutral atom. So say sodium becomes smaller now. This is Na plus. What would happen to chlorine after gaining electron? It becomes Cl minus. It grows larger, right? Can I show chlorine now larger like this? Correct. Now this is chloride. Understand, before I've taken sodium atom and chlorine atom, now sodium ion and chloride ion. Sodium ion has reduced its size, chloride ion has increased its size. Now how to measure the radii in this? Can you say it is half the distance between something? In order to make that two like atoms or two like ions to be placed together, is it possible to place I minus or A minus together to measure half the distance? Two like ions do not exist together, right? Minus minus charge, they do not club together. Then how to find ionic radii? It is not possible to find ionic radii from the bond length. We have used covalent bond length and cut it half. Metallic bond length, cut it half to find covalent radius and metallic radius. Same as that, we cannot cut the ionic bond into half and measure the radius. Why? Because here it's not possible to have like particles together. Two like ions, A minus do not exist together. Then we have to measure each ion's center from the center. What is this distance to be measured? How to know that? Can I say this is outer shell of sodium ion? Isn't it this yellow line is outer shell of sodium ion? Same as that. Outer shell of chloride is this yellow line where electron can exist, correct? So from here to here or here to here, we must say the distance. Then I can define it as it is the distance from the nucleus to the outer shell of the ion until which the nucleus has its influence. Distance from the nucleus till the outer shell of the ion until which this nucleus has its influence. What is meant by having influence? It can hold its electrons. If electron is here, can sodium hold this electron here? No, that belongs to chloride now. In this part, that electron belongs to chloride. So ionic radius is the distance from the nucleus to the outer shell of the ion, until which the nucleus has its influence on the electron cloud. Its influence on the electron cloud. What do you mean by electron cloud? Outer shell electrons. Electron cloud. Clear? Van der Waals radius, one more. Van der Waals radius. How to define van der Waals radius? For which we require some van der Waals bond. Van der Waals force is a physical force of attraction between the molecules. Usually exist in which type of molecules? Ionic, covalent, coordinate, metallic. Which type of molecules have van der Waals force? Covalent, right? Covalent molecules. Say there are HCl or chlorine molecule. Say this is HCl itself. Hydrogen and HCl. Another HCl. In order to measure covalent radius, you have to find the like atoms of the neighboring molecule. Again, you can't take hydrogen of this and chlorine of neighboring. You have to take like atoms of the neighboring molecule, find the internuclear distance, divide it into half, where this is the van der Waals force. Got it? Same as that, this type of molecule may exist here also, of chlorine here, hydrogen here. And here to here, if you take the distance, this will be the half. If this is x and x, will it be x and x? No, no. It can be y and y. Which is small? X or y? X is small. Now, which is the van der Waals radius? Is that y or x? It is x. That is smallest. When you consider van der Waals radius, you can't expect all van der Waals force are equal between the molecules. Some molecules may be tightly held, few molecules may be loosely held. In that case, you get the van der Waals distance of different length. Among them, you have to find smallest. Hence, when you define van der Waals force, you must say it is half the smallest distance. Okay, then how to define half? The smallest or shortest distance between the nuclei of like atoms of adjacent molecules. Half the shortest distance between, it is half the shortest distance between nuclei of like atoms of neighboring molecules. Like atoms of neighboring molecules. Clear? You have noted all those diagrams? Don't expect me to tell every time. Whatever you find on the board, whatever you hear in the class, it is your duty to note down. Hence, van der Waals radius is x, not y. How these atomic size? Okay, before that, we have seen so many types of radius. Compare covalent metallic van der Waals radius, which is largest? Covalent metallic van der Waals. It again depends on the strength, reverse of the strength order. Which is strongest bond? Covalent metallic van der Waals, which is strongest? Covalent. Next comes strength, metallic. Then comes van der Waals is weakest, no? So which is the largest? Radius. Largest radius. Strongest bond has least radius, no? Strongest bond means smallest. Radius is smallest. So strength and radius goes in the reverse order. Van der Waals is longest. Then comes metallic and covalent, right? Van der Waals radius is longer or greater. Van der Waals radius is greater than metallic radius, greater than covalent radius. On this question may come, they'll give you the values of different radius, or they may ask for a given molecule which radius is long. Here I cannot include ionic. Why? For a given compound you cannot have there, right? Ionic, don't include that. This three comparison is enough. Then write how atomic size vary along the period and down the group. Variation of atomic size along the period. How does it vary? Along the period, atomic size decreases. left to right because electrons are added to the same shell. Decreases. Along the period decreases as electrons are added to the same shell. What would happen to the effective nuclear charge? You know what is effective nuclear charge? What is effective nuclear charge? What is effective nuclear charge? Attraction by the nucleus on outer shell electrons. Attraction by the nucleus on outer shell electron is called as effective nuclear charge. That is simple. Effect of nucleus on electron. That's it. Attraction by the nucleus on outer shell electrons. What happens effective nuclear charge along the period? More number of electrons are added to the outer shell. Effective nuclear charge increases. So size decreases. Effective nuclear charge increases, hence size decreases. How size and effective nuclear charge related then? Inversely proportional. Atomic size proportional to 1 by effective nuclear charge. Put the sign, proportional sign. 1 by effective nuclear charge. That is inversely proportional. Atomic size proportional to 1 by effective nuclear charge. Down the group. How it varies down the group? Size increases. Down the group, atomic size increases. Why? Why it increases down the group?
Outermost electron cannot
New shells
hold
are
by.
added. Down the group, new shells are added. Electrons are added to the new shells. That is regarding the atomic size. We'll move to the next property, ionization potential. What is ionization potential? How do you define ionization potential? Consider isolated gaseous neutral atom from which you remove electron which requires certain amount of energy called as ionization enthalpy, which makes A into A plus in the gaseous state by removal of electron. This energy is called as ionization enthalpy. So in terms of an atom, I can show a nucleus, electron is here. You want to remove this electron in order to make it into a cation. Removal of an electron requires certain amount of energy to be supplied. That is called as ionization enthalpy. Hence here you can say if this is an isolated neutral gaseous atom, energy required to remove the outer shell electrons from isolated gaseous neutral atom. It is the energy supplied to remove an electron from isolated gaseous neutral atom. Energy required to remove an electron from the valence shell of isolated neutral gaseous atom. Isolated neutral gaseous atom. What is isolated means? Separated, single. It has to be measured on a single atom. How does it vary along? Okay, its value is positive or negative? Energy supplied, right? Energy required to remove. It is a positive. Ionization enthalpy is a positive value. Its value is positive. Variation along the period. How does it vary along the period? How it is related to atomic size? Inversely proportional. So whatever you write for atomic size should be reverse for this. Along the period, what would happen? Size
Along the
decreases.
period
So
increases.
ionization potential increases. Along the period increases. Because it is directly proportional to effective nuclear charge, right? As effective nuclear charge increases. Effective nuclear charge increases. Down the group, reverse, decreases.
Decreases.
Down the group, decreases. Factors affecting ionization potential. Which are the factors? Atomic size and effective nuclear charge are common factor which affects all the properties. So you can write those two as common for all the properties. First one, atomic size. We just keep writing how atomic size and the given property are related. Atomic size and ionization enthalpy, how are related? Directly or inversely? Inversely proportional. Ionization enthalpy inversely proportional to atomic size.